Coming up on NewsWatch 12 this morning, a House bill that was introduced by a Medford representative was passed to limit the use of phones in school.
Plus, we're following up on the discovery and detonation of a bomb in White City. A look into the history still making an appearance this morning.
Live, local, late breaking. This is NewsWatch 12 this morning.
Good morning. The time is 6 a.m. on April 16th. Welcome to NewsWatch 12 this morning. I'm David Alvarado.
And I'm Brinkley Hill. Right now, we're going to check in with Storm Tracker 12 Chief Meteorologist Matt Hoffman on what we can expect for our Wednesday.
Good morning. We're going to see mostly sunny skies for your Wednesday today. A stray shower is going to be possible in Northern California later this afternoon, mainly down near the Mount Shasta area, southern portions of Siskiyou County. Not as warm today, but it will still be above average for those high temperatures this afternoon. Still going to be climbing into the 70s for highs in the Rogue Valley. You will notice some breezier winds throughout the region, including in the Rogue Valley. Winds will pick up later today into the mid 60s by the noon hour, up to around 74 degrees by 5 o'clock. It's still going to be a nice day to get outside, climbing into the 70s in our west side valleys. Even Klamath Falls will be up around 70 degrees and getting up to 65 with the marine layer clearing out of Brookings. Again, winds are going to be gusty today, and we'll see some even windier weather for tomorrow. A closer look at your extended forecast coming up in a bit. Damien and Brinkley.
Measure 114 remains in court after an appellate ruling. Democratic lawmakers are looking to add gun control bills in the Oregon legislature. Voters narrowly approved the gun control measure in 2022. A Harney County judge's ruling was overturned by the Oregon Court of Appeals. The law has yet to become effective due to a series of legal challenges. And while Measure 114 awaits a potential hearing before the Oregon Supreme Court, Democratic lawmakers in Salem are working on 3 gun control bills. One to lay the framework for implementation of Measure 114 and 2 others regarding gun sales.
House Bill 3076 would lay the groundwork for a state licensing program for gun dealers. Licenses would last 3 years and the DOJ would have to inspect each business. House Bill 3076 passed in committee last week along with 2 other gun bills. While supporters say this would help stop suicides and mass shootings, Republicans and other opponents don't see it that way. As of now, gun dealers only need a federal firearms license from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
New this morning, the Oregon House of Representatives have passed House Bill 2251, which would limit the use of phones in schools. The bill would require each school district to adopt a policy prohibiting student use of phones in school with limited exceptions. Earlier this year, the Medford School Board voted to adopt a new cell phone policy that is similar to the bill passed. Representative Kim Wallen, who introduced the bill, says this bill will improve the outcomes of school for students and teachers. The bill is now heading to the state Senate.
We're following up on the live round found on a rural property in Sam's Valley. It was confirmed to be an old artillery round, but the property where the artillery round was found used to be a military camp that spanned for miles. Camp White was a military camp from World War II, and troops that came to the Rogue Valley increased the population, but left behind old military equipment. It's not uncommon for artillery rounds to be found.
It's been a long time since anybody found one that I know of. But I'm sure that there were thousands of shells out there. It's certainly not the first.
OSP, the Oregon National Guard, and Jackson County Fire District 3 were all on the scene and say they safely countercharged the device. Something that was emphasized was the size of Camp White. While it was White City's namesake, it was more than White City, going closer to even Cave Junction, housing about 40,000 soldiers. And in their trainings, lots of bombs were used in what used to be Camp White. Grants Pass could be facing a water crisis after losing a $50 million federal grant to replace its nearly century-old treatment plant. FEMA pulled the funding last week, leaving city leaders to scramble. The $50 million FEMA grant was the cornerstone of the city's plan to build a new flood-resilient water treatment plant. It would replace its current one, which was built in 1930. But now that plan is in jeopardy. And FEMA said they pulled the funding as part of a broader decision to shut down the BRIC program. criticizing it for being politically driven and ineffective.
This is the only source of water for the entire city of Grants Pass. We couldn't put water into the pipes. That means hospitals would be without water, restaurants would be without water, industry would be without water.
Now turning to a rate consultant to determine if it can afford to take on more debt without immediately raising water rates. A decision isn't expected until early May, when the Public Works Department will take its proposals to the City Council. Until then, the risk remains if the aging plant fails, hospitals, homes, and businesses could be left dry. The timeline to restore service is unclear. Medford Water also losing more than $34 million in funding for projects to match growing need and improve disaster resiliency. The loss of funding cost the project over half its projected $60 million cost. The loss of the BRIC grant has left the company working to understand project impacts and next steps. Medford Water says there could be delays in the projects, including building diameter pipelines, expanding pump station capacity, and distribution of storage reservoirs.
Oregon Governor Tina Kotek answered questions in response to recent actions from the federal government.
The topics span the freezing of FEMA grants, efforts to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and the termination of students' visas across the state. Last week, the Oregon Department of Education sent a letter to the Trump administration standing by the state's DEI efforts. A joint statement also released between the governor's office and the Bureau of Labor and Industries about new initiatives to keep students in classrooms safe, regardless of where students or their families are from.
Kotek says she's alarmed about the recent reports of international students having their visas revoked, saying it will undermine higher education and student freedom of speech.
Continue to see daily, if not daily, probably for sure weekly, from the Trump administration, really trying to undermine what we've built here in Oregon. To every specific threat, we will have a specific response, like we did with the message coming out of the Department of Education.
On the state level, Governor Kotek also discussed efforts to improve education, saying she's excited about the legislators supporting House Bill 2007 to fund summer learning programs.
The bipartisan House Bill 2251 to ban cell phones in schools has also passed.
When a wildfire starts, there's no time to figure out who to call. That's why Northern California and Southern Oregon Fire Resources held a joint conference. Each fire season, there are new technologies, resources, and people in new roles. This conference is the first step in preparing for fire season.
So we really just want to close all those gaps and make sure that, we've all shaken hands, we know who each other is, and so when we get out to the fire line, there's a sense of familiarity and a little bit more comfort while we're dealing with a tense situation.
There are also vendors at the conference that bring resources for a fire. That could be drone capability, personal protective equipment, and other safety or fire management tools that could be used on the front lines.
California Governor Gavin Newsom signed new legislation that will provide more than $170 million in funding to prevent wildfires. This funding is from a $10 billion bond measure for environmental projects approved by voters last year. At least half of this funding will be directed to conservancies in Southern California in the wake of the devastating LA fires.
A horse in Bly is in stable condition after it was rescued this weekend from a pit of mud. The Klamath County Sheriff's deputy and Bly firefighters used a strapping system to help pull the horse out of the mud. The Sheriff's Office also got assistance from Southern Oregon Emergency Aid and Technical Large Animal Emergency Rescue.
Good news for all those thrifters out there. Southern Oregon Goodwill has announced a third Goodwill will be opening in North Medford. This new location will bring approximately 50 jobs to the area, providing an additional job connection center, retail location, and donation center.
For you to be excited about too.
I love thrifting.
I know you like the White City one.
Yeah, I do. A groundbreaking ceremony at the new location will take place at 11 a.m. next Tuesday. Construction set to begin in May with a grand opening set for the spring of 2026.
We've asked our CEO, Brian, to take over Kelsey's leash.
And 3 facility dogs have found a new home. Dogs for Better Lives had their leash handoff ceremony, and these dogs go through a long 6-month process of specialized training. 2 recipients are from Medford and the other is from Grants Pass. Carrie Compton telling us she will integrate Misty into the Children's Advocacy Center in Josephine County.
Last summer, we started the application process for a dog. We have a brand new facility, so it's pretty equipped to have a dog. It's a nice big space.
Misty will be utilized by doctors, a forensic interviewer, an advocate, and a therapist to help comfort and calm children who have suspicions of abuse. CEO Brian Williams says each dog and recipient have a unique story. Williams also highlighting ways the public can support Dogs for Better Lives through donations, volunteering, and puppy raising.
Looking ahead to next month, the 37th Siskiyou Scenic Bicycle Tour is back for another year with some new ride options. The biking tradition showcases the landscapes of Siskiyou County, all while raising funds for local community projects. This event has something for every bike rider. The 2-day scenic biking tour will take place on May 17th and 18th.